If you know anything about romantic literature, then you've probably heard of Wattpad. But what if I told you there was one piece of romantic literature that had completely flown under everyone's radars this entire time? It is called Romeo and Juliet. It was written by this horny old man who believed that the English dictionary wasn't good enough for him, so he made up a bunch of his own words. Despite the fact that I and no one else on the entire planet has ever heard of this, it actually received a film adaptation. Well, only one, or two, I guess. So the first adaptation was called Romeo plus Juliet, and the second one was called Gnomeo and Juliet. So both times they fricked up the name. You had one job. We're gonna be talking about the live action one because I said so, and we're gonna be seeing how exactly do those classic old scriptures translate onto the modern silver screen of cinema. Oh, and before we begin, just a little heads up, this entire movie is false advertising. It's called Romeo plus Juliet, but they never fuse into a big gross monster. So at the beginning of the movie, there's a news reporter, except her report is actually the opening line introduction of the play, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty cool nod to the original and everything. Then there's this like fast-paced, high-edited montage sequence that feels more like something that would be in a trailer, and also it restates all the same stuff that the previous part already said. I don't know if this is how movies were edited at the time, but like it's weird. Now, if the opening was the only part with the Shakespearean dialogue, then it all would have been fine. But it's not. It stays throughout the entire movie. Now, of course, a potassium anatidae as myself would have no problem following along with the dialogue, but it does move very fast and it is easy to lose track of what's happening. And this entire movie looks like a Sum 41 music video. Well, no shit, dumbass! They both came out in 1996! Who said that? He's not real, 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 he's not. And some of the things that happen don't quite make sense within the context of a modern world. Like, for example, in the original, Romeo is sentenced to banishment since he killed someone or something. Except we kinda don't do banishments anymore. We arrest people now. It's a lot more effective. Mercutio can be seen wearing drag, which is an allusion to how back in the olden days of plays, women weren't allowed to act, so they just have guys put on dresses and play all the female parts. And I know what you're thinking. And yes, it's true. Shakespeare invented femboys. In the OG version, Juliet is 13, and thankfully they took this out of the movie, and yes, that is Ant-Man she's dancing with. Oh, but you know what they didn't take out? The line, more beautiful than a jewel upon an Ethiop's ear. Get it? Ethiop? Like Ethiopian? Like a black person? Hey, let's backtrack a little. Remember how Juliet was 13? Well, in the 60s version, Juliet's actress is actually 16 years old. And if you've seen that movie, then you know there is a part that nowadays is considered a crime to see a 16-year-old do. My teacher just criminalized the entire classroom. Yippee! You know, the best part of this movie is the ending. The whole sequence is super tense and fast paced and tense, and it's like, I don't know any other word to describe it besides tense, but it's really good. And Juliet wakes up right as Romeo's about to drink the poison, so that part was really good. Is this a modernized take on Romeo and Juliet? Not really. It's set in the modern, but it's not modernized. If anything, it's mainly just something you can look at while on grass. Please don't make me watch Romeo and Juliet. I cannot handle that right now. But if you excuse me, I'm going to go read some real literature.